Ivan, and welcome to another episode of Dragon Dreams. On my channel, we discuss the OSR and indie and unorthodox tabletop role-playing games. In my last video, I talked about specialist classes in the BECMI edition of Dungeons & Dragons. So the concept here is that at 9th level, certain classes with certain alignment requirements can switch from a basic class to a specialist class. For more information on that, see my video in the description below. At the end of that video, I discussed the idea that I'd like to do some homebrews. You see, there's one problem. The specialist classes only apply to fighters and clerics. Fighters of every alignment have a specialist class they can switch to. Only neutral clerics can switch to a specialist class. And arguably magic users, if you consider magist, which is kind of like the magic user equivalent of a knight, which fighters can switch to, arguably the magist, which is a mage who serves a lord or lady in much the same way that a knight does, except magically, arguably that could be included in specialist classes. But they don't really have the whole thing fleshed out. There don't seem to be any options for thieves, and there's no options for lawful or chaotic clerics. So I've made homebrews to fix that. I've also thought, why make it 9th level? Why not reduce it to 4th level? Because, let's be honest, a lot of campaigns these days don't go to 9th level. When I put this all up on a BECMI group I'm on Facebook, I was very surprised to find that my fellow BECMI enthusiasts had never heard of this. This is like their favorite game version of D&D, and they've never heard of it. Okay, so let me dive in. So let's see how things stack up now, and then I'm going to tell you the homebrews that I've put in to fix it. So fighters who are lawful in the Rules Cyclopedia can become paladins. If they're chaotic, they can become avengers. Any alignment of fighters can become a knight, which is somebody who serves a liege lord or lady. And magic users of any alignment can become magists, which is also somebody who serves a liege lord or liege lady. So let me expand to fill some of these voids. Let's start with clerics. There's nothing that a lawful or a chaotic cleric can switch to that's comparable to a druid. So I've made 2 homebrews for this. I have the Templar, and lawful clerics can become Templars at 4th level. They need a strength of 13 plus. They gain the ability to use any weapons that are melee weapons, particularly swords, lances, and anything else that are typically used by knights because they often fight on horseback. Templars are members of a monastic order within their religion that fights evil and often allies themselves with paladins. In fact, it may even be the one in the same order that allows both Templars and paladins into it. On the other side of druids, on the chaotic side, we have cultists. Cultists require a 13 plus dexterity. They can use thief abilities as a thief of 1/3 their level, including backstab. However, they are not allowed to use metal armor. The one exception to that is Elven Chain, because Elven Chain doesn't clink. So you see, thieves can't use metal armor because it makes too much noise and they want to sneak around. By the same token, cultists are required to not use noise-making armor because they're expected to be stealthy at any time. You see, cultists belong to secret societies within their chaotic religion that they're initiated into. They have special signet rings or whatever, something like that, special handshakes to get into, to be on the inside of the nefarious plans of their order. All right, let's move on to thieves. So thieves can become either bards or spies at 4th level, regardless of their alignment. For bards, they must have an intelligence of 13 plus. They gain the magical abilities of a magic user of 1/3 their level, but with one major caveat. They cannot learn spells from magic users or elves, nor can they learn spells from magic books, nor can they learn them from scrolls. The reason for this is that bards cast magic user spells in a completely different way. They use music, song, and poetry to cast their spells, and can only learn new spells from other bards. As a sacrifice for gaining any spellcasting ability, they do not go up in thief abilities on any level in which they go up in magical abilities. So what this means is that they lag behind thief abilities on the thief ability chart by a little bit. So basically, bards are wandering minstrels who have forgone the Thieves Guild and the professional thief, the professional career criminal, to become a happy-go-lucky minstrel who wanders from town to town, tries to make money by their performances, lives by their own pluck and luck, but also probably does a few crime jobs along the way to supplement their income. Like pick a few pockets of the people they played for, if their alignment permits. Spies are people who serve liege lords or liege ladies in a castle. They forego their criminal activities. They leave behind any thief guild or thief den that they're allied with, and instead come to serve the side of law and order, to serve the people actually running the government as spies, to go on various spy missions. They gain all of the privileges of serving a liege lady or liege lord in the castle, but also acquire the duties thereof. Magic users who are neutral can now become hermits under my homebrew. So I made hermits basically as the druidic equivalent of magic users. Hermits are magic users who forego all ability to either serve a liege lord or liege lady at a castle or to gain land and build their own tower. Instead, they move out into the woods or some other wilderness area and live in some little hut somewhere as a hermit or in a hermitage or perhaps in a druidic order that accepts hermits. And they learn their magic from nature. As such, they gain druid spells. But they don't cast druid spells the way clerics do who become druids. They cast druid spells the way magic users do. Each and every druid spell that they know must be one that they've learned the same way that magic users learn magic user spells. They must put them in their magic user spell book. And they can have both magic user spells and druid spells in their spell book. Okay, so let's say you're 4th level. You have just become a hermit. You're memorizing your spells, and it's time to list out the 2 2nd level spells that you get as a 4th level spellcaster in the magic user umbrella. One of them is Web, which is a magic user spell. But then you say, gee, I also know Heat Metal, which is a druid spell. I'm going to take that one as well. There is one other change for hermits. Hermits have completely different weapon allowances. They still cannot use armor, but their weapon allowances change from the magic user weapon allowances that are minimal to the druid weapon allowances. Remember, this is BECMI, not AD&D. When we say druids, we're not talking about AD&D druids who can use sickles and scythes. We're talking about BECMI druids. BECMI druids have a restriction, which is that they cannot use any item that is not made of a material that was once living. So that restricts them to having items that are wooden or leather or bone or something else like that. If you get creative, you could probably come up with tortoise shell, ivory, other things along those lines. What this means is that hermits can only use weapons made of such materials. This would include staves and cudgels. It could include blowguns with wooden-only darts, not metal-tipped or stone-tipped darts. It could include bone knives, maybe animal skull bolas. As with the other classes that change the weapon allowances, they would have an opportunity to redo their weapon choices so that in their training, they would gain the ability to use new weapons and have to forego the ability to use weapons now barred to them. So if you played a magic user who, for the first 3 levels, threw daggers, you now can no longer do that unless they're stone knives, but you can use all these other weapons. These weapons are still going to be low in power, however. They're probably going to do a d4 damage, just as daggers would. If it's a 2-handed weapon like a staff that's melee, it might do a d6, but they're still going to be not terribly powerful weapons, in keeping with the concept of magic users having minimal weapons and no armor. So that's it for my homebrews. There's one more thing to mention. In the BECMI rules, it says that characters who stay in their basic class, or also I believe knights, can acquire certain privileges that specialist classes cannot. I'm sorry, not even knights. I don't know why I said that. So fighters who do not specialize can acquire land of their own and build a stronghold. Magic users who do not specialize can also build a tower on their own land. Thieves who do not specialize can become thief masters of a thieves' den or thieves' guild. And clerics who do not specialize can become patriarchs or matriarchs in their religion, having a very high standing in the hierarchy of their religion and overseeing other bishops and parish priests of a variety of different parishes that their religion covers. So they might have churches of a whole region reporting to them. My thinking with this is that the BECMI way to handle my homebrew is, since you can change to a specialist class at 4th level now, in doing so, you would forego the ability to get those things at 9th level. Those are still 9th level things that somebody who stays in the basic class can get. I'm also going to stipulate that knights can become lords or ladies in their own right at 9th level. That seems like a natural progression. 1st through 3rd, you're just a fighter. At 4th, you've proved your worth and you are now employed as a knight by a lord or lady. At 9th level, maybe your lord or lady gives you a land grant and a small fief to rule, and you're allowed to build your own stronghold. So those are the disadvantages for most of the specialist classes in my homebrew. I've written this homebrew up, and I've put it on DriveThruRPG in the link below. It's just $1 for the PDF. So if this interests you, I'd encourage you to go out and buy this. I mean, it's less than a cup of coffee. You probably spend this kind of money every single day of your life or more. Okay, so spend that $1, get the PDF, and tell me what you think about these homebrews. Would you use them in your BECMI campaign or your OSR campaign? Tell me what you think in the comments. Would you change some of these things? I'd love to hear from you, so do tell me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and give it a thumbs up, because this will affect my algorithm and that will boost my ability to make more content for you. It will also help you know when I'm making new videos, or when new videos come out, rather, if you subscribe, because you'll automatically be notified. So, thank you very much for watching, and as always, keep dreaming. Bye.